Right, good morning. Thank you for joining this morning. I have my daughter off camera here, Daphne, is gonna join. So if I'm talking to her, then that's the person I'm looking at over here. So we're gonna start a forward bending practice, and it's actually part of a 3-part series that I'm calling, what am I calling it? So folding into ourselves is the forward bending aspect, but the umbrella name of the series is These Are the Times We Practice For. And so I know a lot of us are feeling the longevity of this pandemic and kind of like the no end in sight, and it's been enough from the beginning that we're all a little weary. So I just wanted to really have us kind of remember that the practice is really a place of refuge. And so forward bending practice is what we're going to do today. And you'll need a couple blocks, a couple blankets. We're going to use the chair just a little bit. If you don't have a chair, you'll be fine. So go ahead and just find your comfortable seated position. Your dominant leg crossing is fine today. Just taking a moment to draw the flesh out from underneath you. Really balancing directly over the center points of your sitting bones. And as you push into the floor, into your props, just try to keep the sense of weight, the sense of anchoring, like your sitting bones are planted deep into the earth. As you move your shoulder blades forward and position your head above your spine. Just take a moment to keep the shoulders back, to really feel the horizontal kind of spaciousness across the chest, and then do your best to maintain that as you join your hands in front of your heart and close your eyes and look away from the brain. So a lot of this forward bending practice is really about moving our attention out of the brain and letting the brain really become more passive. And as we center ourselves here, keeping some awareness on how you're connecting with the floor, what is supporting you, tuning into your breathing. Becoming more acutely aware of your physical body. And without collapsing the chest, bow your head to your heart. And let your hands release down to your thighs, and on an in-breath, lift your head and open your eyes. And welcome. So find your way into child's pose. Your knees should be to the edges of the mat, your feet together, and of course supporting yourself if you need any amount of propping between your buttocks and your feet. Extend the arms forward. And try to make the arms really active. So what that means is you're kind of pressurizing your hands. Your arms are as straight as they can be. Your forearms are not lifted. They're not resting on the floor. Yeah, go put Trevor away, okay. Cool. And as you take child's pose, I'm gonna talk a little bit about our final yama. The yamas are the restraints in the yoga system. And we've reached the 5th one, the final yama, which is aparigraha. And what that means is non-possessiveness and non-hoarding. As befits the end point of such a journey, aparigraha is about letting go. The Yoga Sutras advise us not to waste any energy holding on to that which is not really ours in the first place. When there is firm conquest over covetousness, they who have conquered it wake up to the how and the why of life. This is a quote from the Yoga Sutras. The energy we expend defending unhealthy attachments could be spent making the world a better place. Aparigraha applies to our own thinking as well. Attachment to our thoughts is as wasteful as our attachment to political ideology, relationships, or our own piles of stuff. So today it's about a time of letting go, to clean house both inside and out. Aparigraha is also about letting go of our most cherished, pain-producing beliefs. It's about the end of all attachment, letting go of our fears, letting go of our desires, and becoming free. So from child's pose, just gently bring yourself to table pose so that you can join your knees. We're going to come into hare pose. So knees are joined, feet are joined, your legs are joined. And you're going to sit back again. You're going to come into embryo, which is a version of child's pose where the hands rest next to the feet, palms up. From this embryo pose, you're going to fold your palms over your heels, grab your heels, grip the floor with your toenails, and start to raise your hips away from your heels. So you're holding the heels firmly and you're feeling the back open. You're going to be resting closer to the top of your head and tucking the chin in toward the chest. Really opening up the back body here. Just take a couple more breaths. And on an exhale, sit back down in embryo. Let your palms face up again. Become passive. And now you're going to come to seated as you are with your legs, which is a modified version of hero pose called Thunderbolt or Vajrasana. So you're sitting on your heels, different than hero pose. And if you need support, always take blankets or a bolster between your buttocks and your heels. And just take a moment to align your spine, move your tailbone in, bring your navel in, roll your shoulders back above your hips, and just look straight ahead, getting a nice opening to the front thighs. Bringing the tailbone in, you should elongate the lumbar. Just a couple deep breaths, raise the arms. Grab your opposite elbows and just invite the elbow tips back to open the chest. And try to keep your eyes rooted to the back of your head. Go ahead and re-extend the arms and now clasp the hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders back, separate your palms like you're holding something wide like a brick in your hands, and bring some gravity into the hands. Move your shoulder blades in towards your chest and really try to do your best to keep your head above your spine. Inhale to look up. Take the hands slightly away from your back body. Keep them there, and on an exhale, bow toward the floor. Place the head. And keep stretching the arms away from your back, keeping the arms straight. Grip the floor with your toenails. And now use the power of your hands and use your in-breath to help you all the way back up. Re-extend the arms. And exhale, release your arms. Good. So we're going to release the legs in downward facing dog. So you can find your way to hands and knees. Table position, separate your knees so they're as wide as your hips. Curl your toes underneath. And on an exhalation, extend your legs. So bend your knees and lift your heels as much as it takes to move your chest closer to your thighs. Bend your knees and lift your heels as much as you need to bring your chest toward your thighs. And now, in contrast to that, move your hips forward as much as you need to straighten your legs completely. So we're going to kind of zero in on our own perfect edge in this way. So now you have straight legs, but you might have a compromised torso. So we're going to see if we can get both as close as we can. So go back to bending knees, lifting heels, and bringing your hips back and chest close to thighs. And then adjust your hips and chest forward as much as you need to fully extend your legs. And just do that a couple more times. So first you're bending knees, raising heels, bringing the hips and chest back. And then you're moving your upper body forward enough that you can straighten your legs. And the next time you have your legs straightened, keep the legs straightened and see if you can move your hips back and your chest toward your thighs and just come into your peak version of downward dog, whatever that is for you. Yawning, open the backs of your knees. Good. And now you're going to lower your knees again and join the legs again, join the feet, and we'll come into a version of child's pose that really opens the posterior spine and the back body. So when you have the legs joined, it compresses the front body into the back body. You're going to sit back, child's pose, and you'll just get a deeper experience to the back body. And your head might be raised because you've no longer created space between the legs for your torso to pass through. So that's okay if your head is raised. Keep the crown of the head lengthening away from the sacrum. Pressurize your hands to keep the hips back. And just take a few big inhales, exploring the space of your back body. Just kind of linking the idea, the concept, to the material here. Let this practice really be about what you need to let go of, what's just consuming energy without really having a purpose in your life. Good. And now one last time, we're going to come up to standing through the doorway of downward dog. So you can come back to table, step the knees hip distance apart, make sure the feet follow, and then find your way back to downward facing dog. Right back to that peak downward dog where your hips are back, your chest is close to your thighs, and your legs are fully extended. And now you're going to begin to tiptoe toward the wrists until you feel your feet arrive evenly on the floor from toes to heels. And you're going to probably want to have your two blocks. So go ahead and grab your blocks. We'll come into a series of standing forward bends, starting with Ardha Uttanasana. So with the feet aligning, heels under hips, toes in front of heels, and then your hands planted directly in line with your shoulders on the blocks, on the floor. Lift your belly toward your back, look forward. Try to rotate the inner upper arms out toward the outer upper arms, broadening the chest. Like your chest is grinning from armpit to armpit. Take a big inhale here. And on your exhale, lengthen into full Uttanasana, bowing deeply, maybe taking the hands lower on the blocks or directly to the floor. And let your Uttanasana be about straight legs. So that might mean your hands have to be higher. Find your straightest legs and find your feet in a balanced setting so that you're not all on toes or heels. So we're going to first come into Pashimottanasana, meaning we're turning to the side, we're not twisting. So the idea is to kind of slide the trunk over. And you may need your blocks, you may not. You might just be able to touch the floor directly. But we're going to be moving toward the right leg first. So step your right hand over and your left hand to the right. And try to slide your torso in a way that you did not rotate your hips. So if your butt was against the wall, your buttocks are evenly pressurized against that wall. You didn't just push your left buttock into the wall. Good. Sternum is aligning with right leg. Again, look forward and just try to grow the front body. And then exhale, spread the front body toward that right leg and make the leg being fully extended, fully straight, your priority. So that again might mean your hands have to be higher. Let your head go, Kathleen. You can drop, there you go. And just notice how you can dig in a little deeper to your right leg here. Let your head go, Daphne. There. On an inhale, you can look forward and just slide back to center and continue over to the left. And again, use blocks if you need them. But again, the idea is not to rotate your hip or push one buttock back, one buttock forward. Think about your butt being on like a pane of glass. Your sternum lined up with your left leg. Look forward, big breath in. Exhale, drape the length of the front body toward the left leg. Fully extend the left leg. Breathe deeply. One thing we hold on to in our bodies is tension. So take the next 5 breaths, inviting, even if it's teaspoon by teaspoon, inviting tension to leave the body through the breath. Comb through the tension with the breath. We've become so used to some of the tensions in our body, we don't even recognize that we have them. Finish up your exhale. Inhale, you're going to make your way back to center. And now the next version of Uttanasana we're coming into is aparigraha, which now we do rotate the spine. So we're going to be turning to our right to begin with. You're going to take your left hand to the back of the right leg somewhere. Left hand to the back of the right leg somewhere from the inside. Yep. And then step your right hand forward as much as you need to. You can prop up on your fingertips or even use a block. So your right hand is in front of the line of the right toes. Yes. And now use your hands to rotate your spine like you're looking through a little window between your right arm and right leg. Revolve your trunk. Good. Finish out the exhale. And now inhale, gently lengthen out of your twist. Always important to keep a sense of length along the spine when you leave a twist. Same thing other side. So you can step your left hand out in front of the line of the left foot, on the block, on the floor, your choice. And then take your right hand to the inner left ankle or up higher on the calf. It's really up to you and your body. And then use the position of your hands to revolve your torso to peek into that window that's created by your left arm and leg. And again, this isn't about swiveling your hips. So don't let your hips swivel around. Again, think about a plane, I keep saying a plane of glass. Pane of glass, your buttocks are evenly pressurized against it. Beautiful. Finish out the exhalation. Lengthen back to center out of that big twist. And then from there, you can bend your knees, take your hips in your hands, and inhale, come all the way up. And you can join the legs and feet for standing mountain Tadasana. Bring your legs and feet together. Try to put your second toes in line with your heels. And roll the shoulders back like your shoulder blades are going to move into your back pockets. Position your head directly over your spine. And start at the lowest point in your body, the point farthest from the brain. Put attention there. And connect your feet as evenly with the floor as you can. Front to back, side to side, all the toe pads, ball mounds, heels. Take your tailbone into the body and then match that with the thighs pressing from front to back. And keep your chest really smiling from armpit to armpit without shortening your lumbar spine, without throwing your head forward. Good. And then let your eyes blink open. Shake out the limbs if you need to leave that pose completely. And then we'll set up the blocks to the right end of the mat. We're going to do a kind of a connected series of poses on each side. So we'll do the right side complete first, then we'll go over to the left side. And the series will begin from hands grounded version of Pashimottanasana, which is the intense side stretching pose. So I said in this Monday class, I'm not jumping out for forward bend practice because it's jarring to the brain, and forward bending practice is a quieting practice. Your choice if you do want to jump out. Otherwise, you're going to step out to the wide kind of position on your mat and turn your right foot 90 degrees, turn your left foot way in 60 to 80 degrees so that you can really point your hips squarely at the right end of the mat. And then with your hands on your hips, take your tailbone into your body and compress both thighs from front to back. It's important that back leg is fully extended. So really try to open the back of your left knee. Swivel your hips so that they are aligning. Again, pane of glass idea, even against those panes front and back. We're going to raise the arms, inviting space to the torso along the sides of the trunk, along the front body and the back body. Come to the top of an in-breath, and on your exhale, extend forward. And you want to align your breastbone with the forward leg, so position your blocks evenly around the right leg and roll the outer right hip back, which brings the outer left hip forward. Take a few breaths, just inviting the shadow of the nose out beyond the big toe. And then on an exhalation, spread the length of the torso toward the right leg without bending either knee. Keep your legs fully extended. Priority number one. When the brain can rest, which all forward bends invite that opportunity, we can let go of kind of the bones. Think about the bones that the mind chews on all day long, every day. We perseverate on ideas and things in our lives. So let these poses be an opportunity to kind of let those bones go. That wasted energy, the brain just gnaws on those bones all day long. Now from here, we're going to gently walk into a Virabhadrasana 3. So inhale, look forward. Pivot off your back heel. Bend your right knee, walk your blocks forward, and on an exhale, launch the left leg, Virabhadrasana 3. Your arms should be aligning vertically, wrists in line with shoulders. So from here, you're going to just kind of playfully revolve to the right, to the left for Ardha Chandrasana. So the left hand comes onto the left hip. We try to compress that right buttock forward. Keep your standing leg really fully extended. Good, Kathleen. Yep, roll the top shoulder back. And now exhale, turn back to the floor, place that left hand, reestablish Virabhadrasana 3. Carefully bring your right hand to your right hip. And on an exhale, revolve your trunk without swiveling your hips. Keep a teacup on your lower back. Revolve and point your chest to the right. For aparigraha, Ardha, Chandrasana, revolving, balancing half moon. Back to warrior 3. And now back to Pashimottanasana. Step back, walk your blocks back in. And take one last bow toward the right leg. Make your legs as straight as you can. Inhale back to Ardha Pashimottanasana. Anchor into your heels and take hold of your hips. On an in-breath, lift through the crown of the head. Come all the way up. Pivot to the wide side of the mat. Extend the arms. And then join the feet, right foot, left foot. Take the arms up. Connect your hands. Pressurize your hands to straighten the arms. Take a big in-breath here. And on an exhale, a soft little crescent back bend. So we're keeping a little bit of equanimity in the body through a series of forward bends. We're going to take a subtle back bend here. Your gaze should be slightly up the wall. Bring weight into your heels. Good. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, release your arms. And close your eyes. Tadasana. Attention into the feet. And go even lower, go below the feet. Let some roots come out of the soles of the feet and start to enter into the floor beneath you. Maybe even visualize a mirror image of your body beneath your feet, a root system. Lifting a little bit taller through the top of the head. Good. And as you're ready, you can blink your eyes open and transfer your blocks to your left end of your mat. If it's easier, you can keep yours here and just be stepping your left foot forward, Daphne. Okay. And then from the center of the mat, you're going to jump or step out. And we'll turn to the left now. So your left foot is going to be the 90-degree turn out, your right foot turned in 60 to 80 degrees. And just spend some time, just push in on the tailbone, find your torso in an upright position, compact your legs front to back. Swivel the hips so you have the alignment to counter the asymmetry of the legs. And then raise the arms. Come to the top of an in-breath, and on the exhale, extend forward, lengthen forward. Prop your hands evenly to each side of the left foot. Align your sternum with the left leg. Grab a few breaths here, just inviting the evenness to the sides of the body. Roll the outer left hip back. Wind the arms from inner upper arm out. And then keeping that length, drape that length over the left leg. Bow deeply. And be more interested in the full extension of your legs than how close your chest is to your thighs. As you keep revolving the hips to keep them square, also compact them to midline. Your legs are a friend to the brain. So if your legs are working hard here, your brain can rest. On an in-breath, come back to the half position, concave or flat lumbar. You're going to pivot off your right heel. You can bend your left knee, walk with your blocks, and on an exhale, lift into Virabhadrasana 3. Look forward. Invite that grinning chest from armpit to armpit. We're going to revolve into half moon first, so right hand to right hip. On an exhale, kind of move that left buttock forward into the body. Stack your shoulders, stack your hips. Nice work. Gently revolve back to facing blocks, touch down with right hand This time, hips remain as they are. Left hand to left hip. And on an exhale, revolving to the left. Roll that left shoulder back. Pin that right shoulder blade into the chest. Keep both legs extended. After an exhalation, inhale to turn back to warrior three. And now gently, slowly step back into Pashimottanasana, taking one last deep bow toward the left leg. Inhale, come to a flat or concave lumbar, half position. Anchor into your heels, compact your hips, and bring your hands onto your hips. Inhale to come up. And then pivot wide. Right, extend the arms, step back in, and then turn your palms up. And extend the arms overhead, compressing the hands together. Try to take any bend out of the elbows you can. Move your tailbone into the body, and on an exhale, gentle back bend. And inhale back to an upright position. Exhale, release your arms and just stand in mountain pose again. Attention likes to pool in the brain. Let your attention pool in your feet. Big, soft lion pause. Relax your feet. Softer feet are more steady than clinging, rigid, contracted feet. Okay. So let your eyes blink open. You can release Tadasana. We're going to come into Shashasana, which is headstand. And if you're going to substitute, you can take Pashimottanasana, which is the wide standing forward bend, but try to get your head in contact with your prop so that you can get some of the similar effects of Shashasana, which we have that crown of the head pressing into something. So if you are taking Shashasana, we're going to work on Mukaikapata, meaning we're going to lower one leg at a time. So you can either use a chair if you want a little touch, kind of like a landing pad for your foot. Otherwise, some of you might be able to touch the floor with your toes. Otherwise, you can just bring your leg halfway down without contact with the toes. So it's really your choice. So you're going to come into standing bolt. So wide standing fold. And you can use the wall behind you if you're doing that wide standing fold.
How will you feel?
Yep, exactly. So that it's supporting you from behind. If you're doing Shashasana, I usually recommend you at least fold the mat once, if not twice, so that you can have kind of a cushion for not only your head, but your forearms. If you're going into wide standing fold, feel free to come into that pose. And again, try to prop your head. Okay, so for those of you in wide standing fold, I'm not going to talk at you for now. I'll talk at the Shashasana group. Some of us avoid Shashasana if we're menstruating. Sometimes if there's cervical spine injuries, it's not good to do the traditional Shashasana, so you'd want to substitute with a rope wall, which most of us don't have at home right now. There's a 2-chair method, which I can show any of you if you need. Also, there is the substitute of other poses as we're doing, so you don't have to feel excluded. So find your way into Shashasana. And just hold the pose for about a half a minute. And now the legs are the lifting energy in this pose.
Once you've established the steadiness of Shashasana, it's a good time to explore Akapata, which means one leg. And we're going to keep the left leg really reaching skyward. And on an exhale, start to move your right leg halfway to the floor, all the way to the floor, or to the chair, depending on which kind of path you've chosen. And again, we're attempting to keep the legs completely straight. On an in-breath, reach your right leg back up. Reestablish the two legs up, Shashasana. Reestablish wise actions in your body. And once you're there, then you can transition to Akapata, taking left leg down on an exhale. As you reach the right leg up, without the hips swiveling. When we do inversions, we really work on tapas, discipline, heat building in the body. This is another beautiful method for letting go. Tapas, discipline, heat. As you're ready, bringing left leg back up and stay as many moments longer as you'd like in Shavasana, Pashimottanasana. And we'll meet up in child's pose. So start to make your way there if you haven't done so already.
And then begin to find your way out of child's pose. You're going to be setting up for a series of seated poses. So you'll want to have 2 blankets. You'll want to have a block and a strap. And we'll start by sitting on one of the blankets. And just find your way into Tadasana, seated staff position. Sitting right at the edge of the blanket. Your sitting bones are right at the edge of the blanket and the flesh is lifted away out from under the sitting bones, which gives you a sense of kind of broadness, which makes you feel a little more established in that seat. Sometimes I make this reminder, if you have more muscular legs, you might want to bifurcate the muscle, which means you just kind of run your fingers down the back of your leg and kind of split the muscle in half. You'll sense your legs sitting down against the floor a little bit more firmly, and it can take some of that bulk away, which now we have a better connection with the legs. And just press your hands down next to your hips and sit up tall. Try to place your toes in line with your heels. Legs and feet together. Moving your shoulder blades in towards your chest. So the first pose we're going to do is Triangle Mukaikapata Pashimottanasana. So this is one leg in hero pose. If that is not an option for you, you're going to do Shashasana, looking at you, Kathleen. And I know you have one leg that might be able to do it. So it's just know that you're going to do a modified alternate pose. But we're going to be taking the right leg first into hero position. So the reason I had you grab a block is because for some of us, the distance between the left buttock and heel now, I'm sorry, the left buttock and floor now is significant. It's more than a blanket's worth, and you might do better with an actual block so that we can get the pelvis level. It depends on how muscular and kind of bulky your legs are. For me, a block is better for me than a blanket. If I'm sitting on a blanket, I'm still kind of dumping to my left side. So you decide. Make sure your hero leg is true hero leg, that your heel is sitting outside the hip, that your kneecap, the four corners are looking ahead. You're not kind of wonky or rolling in. And that your 10 right, you shouldn't have 10 toes on your right side, but if you do, that's great. I support you. But 5 toes on your right foot should be pointing back, knees together, okay? So we're gonna come into triangle Mukaikapata, Pashimottanasana, with most of us probably using a strap. So go ahead and I'm gonna teach it with the strap. If you find you can grab your foot directly, bravo. But let's go in with the strap. Take hold of the area of your left foot between your ball mounds and heel. Wrap your hands so that your elbows are directly in line with your shoulders. Good, big in-breath here. And on your exhalation, extend forward, lining yourself up with the left leg, gripping the floor with your right toes. So concave or flat lumbar, the half position first. And now if you're able to drop your strap and reach your foot directly, great. Otherwise, you're going to wrap your hands and come as close to your foot as you can. Exhale, bow deeply toward left leg. And it helps to lift and spread the elbows to, again, think about the chest grinning from armpit to armpit. If we don't lift and spread the elbows, we don't have that spaciousness across the chest. Try to take the crease out of the neck. And don't forget what's anchoring you. Grip the floor with the right toes and try to roll the right shin to the floor. And if you feel like you're kind of still dumping to your left buttock, you have to use the right toes and shin to equalize. Take the exhale to its finish. And then inhale, look forward, and you can drop your strap if you have it. Raise your arms. And exhale, release your arms. Good. So if you're propped on the left buttock side, you're gonna remove the propping first. Let your left buttock come all the way down. The knees, we know over time, knees get a lot of wear and tear and they break down, knee joints break down. So we need to learn safe transitions in yoga to prevent that from happening because of our practice. So the best exit from here is Marichyasana. So you're gonna bring your right foot to the floor. Yep. And then extend the leg. And just take a moment here, don't worry about your propping, to sit up in Tadasana. Just establish some equanimity in the right knee, especially out of that hero pose. And as you feel ready, you can start to set up for left leg coming into Virasana, hero, or an alternate position if you are not taking the hero pose. Propping the right buttock side with the appropriate amount of height so that you have a level pelvis. The tendency is to fall into our Tadasana leg here. So we use the prop to help us equalize, but you also have to use the effort of that left leg now. This is your anchor, left leg. Belting the right foot. Wrapping the hands, conserving the grip, elbows in line with shoulders. Feeling established and even across the hip line. Big in-breath, remember exhale, you're trying to line up with your right leg. Lengthen over the right leg. As you pull back on your strap, it's helping you keep that really beautiful space across the chest. You're going to try to maintain that as you come into stage 2 of the forward bend, as you either come closer to the foot on the strap or reach the foot directly. Bow deeply over the right leg. Again, let the straightness of the right leg be your first priority. Don't go into owie stage. I have my live student here saying owie. Don't go to owie. Be right before owie. And sometimes you have to breathe into owie and it's no longer owie. So breathe. Finish out the exhalation. Use your inhale to look forward, anchor into that left leg. Make sure you're still doing that and raise the arms to come out. And then exhale, release your arms. Move the prop out from under the right side. Sit down on your right buttock and then step the left foot into Marichyasana position to extend the leg. Just a little friendlier to the knee. Sit up for a moment in Tadasana. Okay, Marichyasana. So again, we'll want to use the strap. If you came off of your, we all probably did come off of the blanket support of Tadasana, come back onto it with both sitting bones. And now with both hands kind of scooping underneath the right knee, you're going to draw the heel in toward the right sitting bone. That being said, if you run your hand across their lower back and you feel like it's kind of rounded or tilted back, quick fix is to slide your right foot forward until you establish your vertical lower back sacrum again. So the heel's as close as it can be without compromising the lower back position. So for this pose, we're going to be attempting to bind the bent knee side. So I'm going to have everybody just raise the right arm now. Left hand is next to your left hip. Good. Come to the top of an in-breath, and on your exhale, drop the arm inside the space of the right knee, but without pushing the right knee off. So you're squeezing your right knee to your right shoulder. Don't worry about touching the foot. If you can grab the foot, great, it's a good handle. But if you can't, just extend the arm forward. Okay, and now take the right palm and rotate so the right thumb points down, the right palm points right. And on an exhale, so you can get any more length of the arm forward. Yeah, good. And now bending your elbow, take the upper right arm in front of the right shin. And now keep wrapping the arm around your own outer right leg and hip. Good, keep what you have. See about left hand shaking hands with right hand. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, Daphne's got it. So if you don't have it, did you get it, Shashasana? Oh, okay. I thought you were giving me a thumbs up. So if you don't have it, we're all gonna come out. Even if you did have it, you're gonna come out too. And we're going to use a strap.
Even if you have it?
Huh?
Even if you got it?
Even if you got it, just because I want you to know this trick. Someday, one day, you might not have it. So you're gonna hold your strap between your hands behind your back, which is a nice way to start because look what it does for the chest. It's nice and open. You're gonna let out enough slack that you can drop your right arm in front of your right shin. So you're still holding the strap, but you just widen the distance between your hands. Okay, there's many ways to come in. I found this is one of the least awkward. That being said, it still might be awkward for you. Start to walk the hands closer together. Keep squeezing the right knee to the right shoulder and keep your breastbone aligning with the left leg. On an exhale, bow toward your left leg. So the point of the arms here is to keep your chest broad. If we were reaching and grabbing the foot, we all know what happens to the chest. It likes to sink back. So the binds in our poses oftentimes are to maintain really beautiful expression of the pose. They do look pretty, but the point isn't pretty. The point is about function. Okay, take the crease out of the neck. Just take a few more breaths here. And again, if you can clasp your hands, feel free to drop that strap and go back into your clasp. Okay, if you feel your right buttock is floating in the breeze, bring some weight back to your right buttock. Remember, that's your anchor. Look forward, drop your strap, release your clasp, raise the arms, come up and out of Marichyasana. And now release your arms and extend your leg, Tadasana. You need to always kind of check back in with separating the flesh out from under the sitting bones. Make sure you're coming back to a really solid version of your Tadasana. And we'll try the second side. So from here, scooping the back of the left knee, bringing the heel in as close as you can without compromising the low back. Prop your right hand next to your right hip and raise the left arm. Exhale, arm inside the left foot. And just kind of grow the length of that arm forward. Squeeze the left knee to the left shoulder. Good. Turning the left palm to face left, the left thumb points down. Again, take any amount of length farther out beyond the leg. And then you're going to bend the elbow and try to prop the left arm to the left shin. Keep bending your arm and wrapping your arm around your left leg. See if your right hand can find your left hand. If you've got the clasp, great. You can stay here. If you need a strap, you're going to break free. Hold the strap behind you in each hand and again, drop that arm in front of the shin. Walk the hands together as close as you can. Okay, line up your breastbone with right leg. Bring some weight back to the left floating buttock. Lengthen your front body. Exhale, bow deeply toward your right leg. And be more interested in how fully extended your right leg is than anything else, any other piece of this pose. After an exhale, look forward. You can drop your strap if you have it, release your clasp if you have it. Raise the arms up on an in-breath. Exhale, release your arms down and extend your left leg. Give your legs a little shake or a bounce. Come back to Tadasana. Okay. Last but not least, with this series of bent knee forward bends, is Shashasana. You can also go into a half lotus position. So half lotus is just kind of the evolution of Shashasana, head to knee pose. So we're all going to kind of come in through the steps first, the same steps, and then you're going to decide if you're going to take Shashasana or Ardha Pashimottanasana, which is the half lotus position. So you're going to take your 8 fingers kind of behind your inner right knee, which softens the ligament there. Kind of pull that cord back and bring your knee back so that the knee goes behind the line of the hip. So you want your right inner thigh really wide open here. And then see if you can take your hands and just kind of turn yourself. Leave your leg there. Just turn yourself to face that left leg a little bit more. Good. And now we're going to turn to face the right leg and grab hold of the outer right ankle and the outer right knee and guide your leg back to center. And just rock it like it's a baby. Rock it. And after rocking a few times, you get kind of a sense of where the sweet spot is for you. Eventually, we want the sweet spot to be where the midline of the shin aligns with the breastbone and when that leg is as close as can be. So that's where you're kind of targeting. But that being said, you might need to be wide and you might need to be low. Okay, so we're eventually going to bring the center line of the shin in line with breastbone. We're eventually going to bring that leg really close to the body. Breathe. Sit forward over the sitting bones. So now if you think you're going to go into half lotus, you'll take your right hand. You're going to kind of draw the flesh of the calf muscle toward yourself from underneath the leg, which moves it out of the way, which helps you bring the heel to the crease of the left groin and thigh. Yep. Floating knees we don't like, so if you have a floating knee, just prop it. Okay, if half lotus is not happening, you're coming into Shashasana, which means you're back to that wide and low position. There's no shame in that. You got to be where you got to be. The only way to get somewhere is to go through all those steps beforehand. And again, if you see a floating knee, you're going to prop it. So put something soft under there. A block, if you have to, is fine. Okay, so hopefully we've all kind of picked chosen our own adventures. We're going to belt the left foot. Bent knee in all these poses is the anchor. So if you're feeling floaty and light, that's why we've propped the knee. We want to really draw the knee down. We want to lengthen outward from the inner thigh and down. Okay, so wrap your hands, elbows in line with shoulders. Point your chest evenly at your left leg. Make sure your left kneecap is looking up. It's not rolling out to the side, inside or outside. Pull on your strap and extend forward. Just be there. So we come in with a lot of integrity. We try to maintain what we have in the chest as now we close in on the foot. You're either going to come closer on the strap or you're going to grab the foot. Bow deeply over the left leg. Lift and spread those elbows. Keep your chest grinning. Armpit to armpit. Don't pinch the sides of your body. Lift and spread the elbows. I know the wall is there to exfoliate your elbow. Finish out your exhalation. Come back to the half position looking forward. Really plant your legs and buttocks into the floor, and on an in-breath, raise your arms. And exhale. Lower the arms. So we come out through Marichyasana, the same idea about preserving our knee joint. If you're propped with your knee, you're gonna take the prop away. If you're in half lotus, first just lower the foot without the knee noticing. So don't let your knee do all this as you get your foot down. And then stand your knee up and your foot down. You're coming back to Marichyasana. And then extend the leg. Find Tadasana. Maybe bifurcate the legs, get the legs really pressurized into the floor, equalize that right knee that just did some hip opening. The knee might have taken on rotation that we didn't plan for. Good. And now 8 fingers to the inner left knee. Keep the knee low as you draw that knee back behind the hip. Like a bow and arrow, you're pulling it way back. Pull back on that bow. And feel the opening of the groin. Now from there, we're just going to see about that half lotus position. So we're going to cradle the ankle and the knee with our hands. We're going to lift that leg up off the floor a little bit and pull it toward midline. Okay, so again, center the shin with the breastbone is the idea. Closer to the chest is also the idea, but that being said, you might need to be obtuse angle. You might need to be low. Okay, so be where you need to be. Sit forward on the sitting bones. Try not to fall back on your tailbone or round the low back. Rocking. Okay, if you have a chance of heading into half lotus pose, you can stop with the rocking. You're going to take the left hand and draw that calf muscle toward you. Roll the flesh away so you have a better chance of connecting your heel with that crease of the groin and thigh. If you see a floating knee, prop the knee. If Ardha Chandra, or not half moon, if the half lotus position is not happening, you're in Janu Shashasana. Heel against the right inner thigh, heel against the left inner thigh is another way to do the pose. Also maybe a more obtuse angle with that leg if you need to modify. Okay, so you're going to be where you need to be. The legs, of course, are doing their own thing, but we're trying to feel balanced across the sitting bones and balanced in the pelvis. Once you put the legs in their own situations, then try to find evenness in the foundation of the pose. We'll take hold of the right foot, sole of the foot. Good. Elbows in line with shoulders, wrap the hands. Try to bring some weight to your floating left buttock. Inhale, exhale, lengthen forward, spreading the length of the trunk out over the right leg, lining your nose up, your chest up with the right leg. Preserving the shoulders back, chest spread as you come closer to the foot or grab the foot directly. Inhale big, exhale, bow deeply. Come to your full expression of your pose, whatever that is. And be really interested in the fullest extension of your right leg that you can be in. Least amount of space behind the right knee. Keep reaching out with the left inner knee so the left leg is working for you as an anchor. And now to get a little more juice out of it, can you traction your right heel toward your right hip joint and let your left knee pull forward a little bit? So right leg moves back, left leg moves forward. You might get a little more, gain a little more distance with the torso coming out over the right leg. Finish off the exhalation. Inhale, come back through that half position. Anchor into your legs. Use your in-breath. Raise the arms. Bring the arms up. Exhale. Lower your arms. And if you do have the foot propped on the right thigh, again, without the knee noticing, bring the foot down. We're all going to stand that left knee up, left foot down, and then extend the leg, Marichyasana. Spread the buttock flesh. So finally, we're coming into Pashimottanasana. We're going to just fold forward over both legs, and I want this to be restful for you. So if you have a way to bring your head down, you can kind of do a test run here and see what kind of distance you're working with between your head and your legs. And you're going to create some sort of propping situation that will give you a chance of connecting the forehead so that we can get really quiet here. Some people put that prop over their thighs, some over their shins. Main idea is that you're not propping your nose and suffocating. So if you're propping your forehead, make sure your nose is free and clear. Legs are joined, feet are joined, and your legs are active. Your toes should be above your heels. You're pressing out through the ball mounds and heels, pulling toes back toward you. Seal the legs to the floor, raise the arms. No strap for this one. We're going to be kind of choose your own adventure with your arms. So exhale forward. If you can grab your feet and that's restful, great. If you want to use your forearms as additional height under the head, you can cross your forearms and rest your head on your forearms. But try to keep your shoulders passive. However you're positioning your arms, shoulders should be kind of restful, descending. And after some time, you might have to decrease the propping under the head to keep evolving the Pashimottanasana. We'll be in the pose a full minute, so I'm gonna just kind of watch our time here. One of my favorite quotes that reminds me of this practice is, who are you when there isn't a problem? And the brain likes to chew on those bones, those problems. Letting this practice really familiarize yourself with who you are when the brain is quieter, when we're sensing our present experience. And we've let go of the excess things that draw effort from the brain, from the body, from our time, from our energy. Finish up with your exhalation. And use your stomach muscles to help you come up in a safe and quiet way. Bringing yourself out of the pose. And this is considered one of our deeper forward bends, so I want to kind of segue before we go directly into shoulder stand into a mild back bend. So I'm going to have us take supported bridge pose. And if you have a bolster, that's a nice prop to use. If you have a stack of blankets, you could use that. We're going to elevate the lower back. Otherwise, you can use just a block, and a low or medium height horizontally across the sacrum is a really good prop. The high version of your block is a little too high for our intents and purposes right now. So find your way onto your back, and if you're propping with soft props, it's best to come onto them from seated. It's hard to kind of wedge them under yourself when you're already reclining. And if you're using a block, you can just easily place it under your lower back once you're reclining. And try to rest on the backs of your hands, tucking your shoulder blades towards your chest and inviting the outer upper arms down. And let your feet be heels aligned with knees. So don't walk the feet in as close as they're able to go. And also keep your shins kind of vertical. And if you want to widen the stance of your feet, that can make a little more broadness in the lower back. If you widen the stance of your feet and squeeze the knees slightly together, we broaden the lower back, which might feel really good after some of those forward bends. And after you've spent a little time making those adjustments, don't forget to just let the pose work on you. Stage 2 of any pose is being in the pose. Letting the pose work on you. Let your lower back anchor into your props. Creating a nice landing spot for your belly to sink toward. If you're on a low block setting, you might, after a little time, want to transition higher. You might experiment with that. It's all about what the body needs and what the brain needs to remain absorbed in what you're doing. Boredom is a sign of kind of underwhelming physical experience. And mind wandering, escaping is a sign of taking on too much physically. So tracking your brain is a great way to sense if you're in a correct physical version of your pose. And just kind of step into your feet enough that you can raise the height of the hips enough to slide the block away. And if you're on softer props, you can just kind of slide toward your head side to roll off to your side to leave the pose. And we're going to move into shoulder stand. And if you need to modify shoulder stand today, you could take legs up the wall pose or legs on a chair pose. If you don't have a wall nearby, you could rest your lower legs on a chair seat. If you do have a wall, you can take your legs up the wall with some propping under your lower back. And if you're taking shoulder stand, I like to call my setup the blanket sandwich. So what I do is I set up, I usually use 3 of these Mexican blankets, which is the right amount of height for me, to one edge of the mat with the neatly folded ends all in one side and the side that my shoulders are going to be on. Once I've stacked the blankets, then the sandwich part comes in. I hold the free end of the mat over that so that I have some traction. I won't be sliding around. I like to sometimes use the wall to help me get my legs up, and just because I have it here, I'm going to use that method today, but you don't have to use a wall. Eventually we get our legs up without support. Another way to help you get your legs up is to place a block where your lower back is going to be. And then lastly, I love to use a strap to keep my elbows narrow so that my shoulders can stay broad. So I make a big loop with my strap that is customized to my proportions. So my loop should measure when I place it above the elbows so that my arms, my wrists are as wide as my shoulders. And that goes for everybody. I know some of you are already in the pose and kind of talking through the stages of Sarvangasana because a lot of classes I just have you go into it. And for those at home, maybe watching this on recording, it's helpful to have those reminders, even if we've done this pose many, many times. So first, just center your shoulders from the edges of the mat and leave about an inch from the end of the blanket stack so that when you go up, you're not going to roll off of the stack. The strap is dangling on one arm. I'm pressing my feet into the wall to help me lift my hips. And I'm going to take my other arm into that strap now. I'm going to grab my back, walk my hands toward my shoulder blades, which is up my back, but of course it's down when you're inverted. So it's hard to stay up or down. So walk your hands towards your shoulder blades. And then raise the legs. What you'll see in this pose is the butt falls back, the legs fall forward. So countering that by bringing the buttocks toward the front body and the feet back. And eventually, one day, someday, you lose sight of your feet. And because we are doing forward bends, we're also going to experiment Mukaikapata Sarvangasana today. So after a few moments of holding both legs up, leave your left leg stiff like a poker, is how it's said in the Light on Yoga book. Stiff like a poker. Exhale, lower the right leg halfway. And if you can bring the toes all the way to the floor without compromising your lower back or your hips or the aerial leg up vertically, the left leg, then you'll lower the toes all the way. You can also use a chair. On an in-breath, raise the right leg and reestablish Sarvangasana. Moving the buttocks forward, the feet slightly back. Keeping the right leg stiff like a poker. On the exhale, start to bring the left leg toward the floor. Cut the left outer hip up toward the ceiling. Both legs straight. Reaching on an in-breath, take the left leg back up. And now if you're able to, we're going to come out through plow pose. So you're going to bring both legs toward the floor at the same time now. And you can always lower the toes onto a chair if the floor is too far away. This is a great time to come out of your strap and reach your arms towards your feet. Keep extending through the fingernails as you start to descend your back toward the floor. And once your hips and feet touch down, support yourself sliding toward your head side to get the shoulders and head now on the same height. You can take your feet together or cross your ankles, unfold the arms. Enjoying a few quiet moments that follow shoulder stand. If you've been in legs up the wall, you might start to get ready for Shavasana. And if you're post shoulder stand and you're crossing ankles, just give the other crossing of your ankles a few moments. If you're very restful and passive post shoulder stand, you're always welcome to stay where you are. Otherwise, quietly start to transition to either side of your body to come up and start to set up for shoulder stand for Shavasana. So where we are is kind of chilly this morning, and that's going to prevent the passivity of the brain and body. So make sure to cover up if you're kind of feeling chilly, because we do get even colder as we lie still for a matter of minutes. And if you have those extra blankets from shoulder stand, you could also place them over your thighs, kind of like a gravity blanket. Gives us a sense of settling the legs a little bit more. With your eyes closed, looking away from your brain. Running a body scan, seeking out those default tensions that we all carry, signaling the body to let go. This practice uses the body as a medium to influence the brain, influence the heart. So whatever the brain is holding on to, whatever the topics of your perseveration are, just give your brain a chance to let those things that pull your attention without having any purpose or positive effect in your life. Let those things fall away. Whatever brings heaviness to the heart, see if you can release. Making room in this way. Take a big in breath, filling your body with breath. And on the out breath that follows, let that be a good excuse to let something go. Let it flow out with the out breath. Stress, worry, fear, shame. Something that we ruminate on over and over again, thought waves that persist. Just let it go. And let your breaths return to normal. Let some small movements trickle back in. Maybe squeeze your fists, maybe stretch, maybe bend your knees and elbows. Find a way to come onto your side. Coming from corpse pose to the side lying fetal position, I always like to think about a little rebirth that takes place every time we do yoga. We come up a little bit differently than we came to our mats. So with gentleness, with ease, find your way to seated. Taking a moment to sit up tall to create the alignment in the body. Support the spine, to support the brain, joining your hands in front of your heart. Just spend a couple moments in complete presence. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and let it go. From the place within me that I know to be divine, I honor that place within each of you. Namaste. All right, nice work, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Our little core group. And Daphne, so fun to have her here. And everybody have a great day. Come back Friday. We're going to do level 1, more of a seated practice. So I hope to see you. Bye.